Is he down? I think he's down. He's down. He's down. He's down. What is happening? Oh god, I am actually in hell. Don't you do it. Don't you. You broke out of the stun! Hi. I bet you're wondering how I got myself into this situation. Well, I decided to install a mod for Resident Evil 2 Remake called The City of the Dead, which overhauls the gameplay and adds more enemies, changes item locations, changes the route through the game, and adds new gimmicks to enemies and boss fights. All of this compounding into a much more difficult and changed game experience. And, you know, I just love bashing my head into brick walls until they fall down. So let's get into it. Getting started, the intro here is pretty much the same as in vanilla, except that the game starts us out with the M19 handgun. We also find the J&B 9mm inside the gas station, along with a handful of extra zombies. But other than those few things, the gas station plays out pretty much the same, and before too long, we are out onto the streets of Raccoon City, where there are many new zombies here on the streets, including some armored ones, and one thing that I learned real quick here is that every zombie is way more aggressive and grabby than they are in a normal playthrough. So after running by some doggos and then missing an item pickup on the way through the gate, I then arrive at the RPD. Now, being in caution already is not super great, as Leon doesn't get a speed boost from caution like Claire does. But also, I don't know what all has been changed here in the station, so I'm just going to assume that the speedrun route is not really going to help me all that much here anyways. I get access to the item box and I make the decision to not use the Infinite Samurai Edge in this playthrough. I want to get through this run without using any bonuses if I can help it. Around Marvin Station, I then find the Matilda and a FAS, and then go and store the J&B in the item box before moving on to the East Hallway, where I dip into the press room and discover that a handful of new cadavers have been placed here before I grab the handgun bullets and make my way to find the FAS in the bathroom stall. See, I want to have as many extra heals as possible, and I'm worried about retracing areas with all of the extra zombies in them. So after grabbing the notebook, this concern made itself very apparent. They're moving! This is why I picked up the safety heals. This is why I picked up the safety heals. Marvin then saves me and gives me our combat knife, and now the adventure through the RPD can truly begin. Oh good, RPD 1. And contrary to what I just said a little bit ago, here is where I started to fall into the trap of running the speed route and throwing caution to the wind while making my way into the dark room, where I did manage to craft a red-green mixture, and I kinda started to get the idea that I was going to need to collect as much gunpowder as I could possibly find over the course of this run. Then, making my way upstairs, I discovered that key items were going to be in new places, as a roll of film now took the place of the spade key. So, with that information, off to the library I trotted, and on the way I grabbed the inventory pouch and dealt with the zombies in this room for later, before entering the library, where I started to try and take out all of the zombies in here, since I was going to need to run through this area quite a bit. Once the zombies were dealt with, I then discovered the issue that I was going to have here. See, I still don't have the spade key, and the side door is still locked. So, I decided to backtrack and try to look for it, only to then get swarmed and, well, meeting my first death in the process. Reloading back to the dark room, I then set out to try and find the spade key's location. First, I decided to look in the armory to see if maybe it was going to be behind one of the locked cases. It turns out, it wasn't. But the jack handle is. So I needed to find the keypad buttons to at least finish RPD. Then, while cleaning out the library, again, I did find the spade key. It's on a book cart in the corner of the library. So that's one problem solved. Many more to go. And with the spade key in my possession now, I head back off to the east wing of the RPD. Well, the second floor, it's pretty much the same as normal, except that there's now a couple of extra zombies that have been added to the art room. And while in there, I then grabbed the redstone as well as a grenade before going off to meet Claire outside. Now, after our little rendezvous, I then find the courtyard keys instead of the bolt cutters waiting for me there. So that means it's time to head out through the gate, which, you know, Leon, if you just took a second to check the barrel, you could have just let Claire inside. But we'll let that go for now. The continuity needs it. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I spent way too much time trying to just kill zombies out of nervousness and for short-term ease. I promise you, the ammo waste in the early game here really comes around to bite me in the ass later. So, heading downstairs and into the locker room, I then grabbed a grenade, some pistol rounds, and the valve handle before heading up into the graveyard and finding some more ammo, a flash grenade, and the bolt cutters. However, while trying to deal with the zombies to get out of the graveyard, I then noticed a very suspicious set of squeaky boots approaching in the distance.
Mr. What? You're here already?
Once I got back inside the RPD, I then used the bolt cutters to get into the east office. I dealt with getting pinballed around by zombie grabs, since they can grab you through the recovery animations Leon has. And I grabbed the fuse to get out of the east wing. Then, trying to run back through the west hallways, that was not great, considering I had no healing and already had taken a ton of damage, even through the defense buff that I got. So this trip ended pretty quickly, and I had to do the whole courtyard sequence all over again. This time, however, after speeding my way back through the courtyard, I then used a grenade as an escape item and made my way back into the RPD lobby. This time, though, I made a save at the typewriter. Then, I was a bit more careful when running through the west hallway and grabbed the detonator out of the chained-up room, grabbed the valve handle out of the box in the dark room, and then made my way up to the second floor to head on over to the STARS office and unlock the door to the unicorn statue. Mr. Squeaky, however, is already chasing after me in this playthrough, so now there is an element of tension with every step I take, a lot earlier than I expected. I make it into the STARS office while ignoring the MJ liquors, and yes, that is plural, to find the battery and some items before making my way up to get the last medallion. Mr. Squeaky and the multiple liquors that spawn nearly made this a bad experience, but I grabbed the medallion and made my way back down to Marvin in the lobby and gaining access to the secret passage. Heading downstairs, I then pick up a grenade by the Lightning Hawk upgrade box, and then prepare myself for the first boss of this run, G1 Birkin. Now, G1 is not really a problem in the regular game. He's the first boss after all. There's plenty of space to lead him around in, and there are plenty of items in the arena to pick up and use. In the speedrun, the fight ends after about 17 to 20 knife slashes during his startup animation also. So, I wasn't super concerned. But this mod changes things. One thing I noticed is the knife strat just didn't work. So, damage or HP values have been changed drastically. The second and most major change is that the arena is now flooded with zombies from every angle. Every corner of this arena has a pack of zombies that all start heading towards Leon as soon as the fight starts. So it was time to roll up the sleeves and get to work the old-fashioned way, with a montage of the fight because I was here for about an hour trying this section over and over. Okay, I don't want to turn on assisted mode. Okay, well, we're stuck in this hallway now. Like, we're done. He's taking so much damage. Okay, what am I missing with Birkin? How am I having trouble with Birkin? How am I having trouble with G1? If I'm having trouble with G1, how the hell am I going to get through G2? Oh my gosh, we got it. Oh, good God. Oh, if that's G1, this is gonna be, oh, this is gonna be so bad. This is gonna be so bad. This is gonna be so bad, dude. What? Who? Why? Now, once Birkin was sent off into the sewers, it was time to try and find our escape from the RPD through the garage. Now, the start of the garage section is not too eventful, but one cool thing here is that Leon has access to the elevator to go back up into Iron's office, where I then get the grenade launcher here in the side room, which I don't believe Leon can get in his run in general. And once up in Iron's office, we get to play with some puppies, and we find the crank at the end of the side hallway. I also get the stock for the Matilda out of the trunk while we're down here, and instead of dogs being in the kennels, Leon gets lickers today. So I end up using the Matilda to deal with the lickers, saving the better handgun for later, and I grab the key out of the morgue before going to flip the switch for power. Once the power switch is thrown, Lickers and Mr. Squeaky show up and start chasing Leon on his way back up into the RPD. Now, back up in the RPD, it's time to start hunting down the gear pieces for the electronic parts, and also getting the helicopter fire put out. So, using the crank in the east wing gives me access to the third floor where normally the large gear is, but this time, it's flame rounds. Not bad, but not really a progress item. Then checking the side room awards me with a bonus knife as well as the stock for the shotgun that I still don't have, so that's cool. And from here it's a quick jaunt down to the water main, where I then grab the club key along the way. The next major step was a two-parter. One, I needed to find the second keypad for the armory terminal to get the jack handle. And two, I needed to find the large gear for the clock tower. So that means there were a few places I needed to get to and search, with the club key being our newest item, meant that I could get to both the east and west wings. So West Wing Hall first, and with zombies, lickers, and Mr. Squeaky now chasing us again, this is where the run started to get really tight, and the trudge began. In the records room, there was a grenade and the second keypad button, so mystery number one was solved pretty quickly. The problem now became I need to run through the west hall with all of the enemies, grab the button, then run through to the armory room, use the button, grab the jack handle, then make my way all the way back up to the library to gain access to the clock tower. All of this while being chased by two Mr. Squeakies, lickers galore, and all of the zombies that are flooding into the RPD with nothing but one green herb as a healing item.
There's two of you! There's two of you!
That's not where the issues stop, however. See, I still need the large gear for the clock tower, and I skipped over it before, but I do know where it is. See, it's sitting in the room with the Lightning Hawk in the STARS office, which means I need to find the STARS badge before I can even progress through this section, and that is where the club key comes in once again. And with all of that figured out, there's really only one place left to look: the interrogation room in the basement. So once downstairs, I grab the box and make my way back to the item box upstairs to grab the red gem that we picked up earlier, and lo and behold, the STARS badge is inside of the box. Time to make a save and start the RPD West Wing Gauntlet run all over again. Yeah, a large portion of this part of the run was just trying to get through this section with the items that I had. Remember when I said that all of that ammo and health waste earlier would come back to haunt me? Well, here's part 1 of that. Eventually, after many attempts, I then made it to the dark room again and made a save so I could try to route out this next portion of the run without doing all of it over from the beginning. This ultimately boiled down to just hoping that Mr. Squeaky 1 and 2 don't show up in the dark room hallway or the STARS office hallway, and then just walking under the liquors into the STARS office to grab the Lightning Hawk and the gear before walking into the unicorn room and then going up to the clock tower. The last part about this section being that the first of the 2 electronic parts is also in the STARS hallway, locked behind the diamond door. So everything I need to get out of here is in a straight line to the library, which is about the only convenient part about all of this. Finally, once I make it into the library, I use the jack, run over to the clock tower, check the back hallway and find the next inventory expansion, before grabbing the second electronic part and making a beeline straight back downstairs while dodging both Mr. Squeakies along the way. I make it back down to the garage on a sliver of health, and then a dog clipped me by flying straight through the side door while I was trying to pick them off in the doorway.
They can just go through doors.
The second attempt went a lot better, and once done with the puzzle, I grabbed the fast in the jail cell, and then the key card to make my way out of here, losing 2 flame rounds in the process, but getting saved by Ada, then grabbing the green herb on the way out of the RPD, and finally scrounging around trying to find anything that I can get my hands on, scared of missing any resources, at which there's really only the shotgun attachment and 1 thing of ammo in Kendo's. Now it's time for the fun part of the game. The sewers.
Chance. You're stuck with me to the end.
Oh boy! The sewer section. Wonder how this mod is gonna be for this part. Well, the alligator auto-scroller is the same as is expected, but once at the bottom of the ramp, 2 zombies pop up and there is an inventory pouch and a knife waiting for Leon in the muck. From here, things progress as normal until they switch to Ada, where some baffling choices were made. Extra zombie placements are of course standard by now, but the usual handgun bullets are replaced with machine gun round. And we pick up a knife in the first room. So as soon as we enter the maze area, I start to hear the MJ liquor noises, and yep, multiple liquors are down here with me too. Now running around, I can find 1 thing of handgun ammo, 1 flash grenade, and the submachine gun in one of the side areas of the maze. But on the way out of the maze, a Mr. Squeaky also starts chasing after me. This section takes a few tries, but it's mostly because of the swarming and only 2 escape items making this area really tight to get through. I also only make it out with like 1 HP at a dream, but that's all I need, and now it's back to Leon. Now, there are a few things that I am worried about with this section as Leon. My main concern being the plugs puzzle, since all of them are key items, and I'm worried they are going to be all over the place. Second being the G-adults. With all of the extra zombies and maybe even liquors, fingers crossed, managing items and ammo for the G-adults sounds like it's going to be miserable. This run is taking every bit of resources I gather for me to get through, and that issue is mostly coming from me spending items freely right at the start in RPD. So, thanks, pass me. Getting to the plug room for the first time, however, isn't that bad. But it does eat some ammo from the Magnum and the grenade launcher. I also don't have any flashes or grenades, which means I can just get stun locked by the G-adults if they grab me in the tight spaces. As is usual by now, a ton of zombies have been added to the tram room and pretty much everywhere, and to make things even more fun, once you leave the safe room for the first time, a liquor and multiple zombies spawn inside of it from when you go back in. Charming. So, heading down and opening the gate after searching the platform for really nothing useful, I start running over to the usual route, but the issue here now is that I don't have the T handle. So I can't even progress yet, which means a ton of backtracking until I get the idea to look in the water back where I opened the gate. And it is there, in the back corner of the room past where the grenade pickup is. So again, one problem solved. Plenty more to get to. From here, I think it's a good idea to rush straight to the plug puzzle room and through the breeding grounds to try and get that part out of the way. And, you know, with the flame rounds, this section isn't too bad, outside of making me waste the grenade rounds to get through it. The puzzle room is pretty standard, and all of the plugs needed are here, which means I can mark that worry off of my list. However, once all of the plugs have been grabbed, a liquor spawns with the zombies, and once the flamethrower is grabbed, another liquor spawns as Mr. Squeaky barges in through the upstairs door, and I eat another death. Now, looking at this, one might think, whoa, this is crazy! Who would play through this with all of these added cheap shots? And well, the answer's me, and plenty of other people. And also, this isn't even the worst of it. This is still the kiddie pool of this mod, because the big problem is just around the corner. See, after doing this section again and actually making it all the way back to the safe room, I put all of the plugs in their respective places, and the door doesn't open. I take a look again, and, well, the reason the door isn't opening is because the pawn plug, that normally is in the wall to start with, is somewhere else.
Did I just not put these in the right order last time? Knight goes here, rook goes here, we get the bishop, king goes here, queen goes there, and bishop goes here. Wait, hold on, what? Wait, where's the pawn? Hold on, I gotta look for the pawn? Okay. Well, that's a new problem.
From here, I spent a while running around the sewers, looking in every corner I could find, and checking the locker in the control room, but nothing. Then, an idea hit me.
Where would you be?
Up in the room by where the rook plug is, there was a film roll on the table. And that film roll contains the location of the hidden spots for RPD. Normally, I never go back to RPD in the speedruns for, well, obvious reasons. But I started thinking that those two spots were really the only places that I hadn't checked at this point. The problem with this, that I never dealt with a lot of the zombies in the RPD and kind of brute forced my way through the areas with my resources that kind of got me in the bad situation that I was in here. So the path went like this. I needed to run past the armory hall with all of the liquors and zombies to get to the dark room. Then I needed to develop the film, then run upstairs to the STARS office to check the desk drawer for the first hiding spot. This rewarded me with an upgrade for the Lightning Hawk. Oh, Then, to get to the second spot, I needed to run through the rest of the Stars hallway with the lickers and zombies and hope that Mr. Squeaky didn't catch me or cut me off. Then it was through the library and downstairs to the press room. But the East Wing is crawling with a full horde of zombies. So some escape items are needed to be spent. And here, once I make it to the drawer, I find the pawn plug. Run my way around back to the sewers, and I died to a zombie waiting by the elevator when I was trying to get back to the item box. So, time to repeat the route till I get it done.
That is an insane progression path, though. So all of that, mind you, all of that is before I've even gone to get the other plugs. I have to come all the way up here, develop the film, then go get it.
Finally, after all of these attempts, I get the plug back home, and the door swings open.
Oh, we got the door open.
And it is time
Oh, we got the door open.
for my most hated boss, G2. Now, if you've played RE2R normally, you might also share my disdain for this boss, because I swear he just never wants to stagger long enough to actually hit him with the container. He will narrowly avoid it more times than you expect. So, that part pretty much stays the same. Except now, it takes more damage to stagger him, and he unstuns faster, I think. And you might think, well, then it's pretty much just the same fight then. What's the problem? The biggest problem is that while the fight operates pretty much as normal, there is a horde of crawlers that just keep spawning in throughout it. Let's roll the clips, as pretty much all of one stream day was just this boss fight.
Okay, okay, you just tanked the grenade like it was nothing? Normal. Well, I don't know why I would expect anything different.
Oh, okay, so he can tank the grenade. That's not good.
That is not good. I need to get the ammo like right away. The flash has to go out quickly. I have to get the ammo. I have to reload the magnum at the very least. We believe in you. Oh, if only I believed in myself.
Okay. Stop dropping people. Stop dropping people. Don't you do... Okay, you know what? It'll stun things. Fuck it. Oh, hi, hello. What the fuck? Who are you? Who are all of you? You down? I think he's down. He's down. What is happening? Oh god, I am actually in hell. Don't you? You broke out of the stun! You know, I said to myself a little earlier, how much worse could G2 get than what is already vanilla G2? And here's the answer. Or that. Which you... Somebody name that one. Somebody name that specific zombie. Mikey? Okay. That one's name's Mikey. If they're still on the platform after this fight's over, I'm personally dealing with Mikey and I'll leave the rest. Just stay down. Come on. Stay down. Let it hit. Stay down. Hit him. Oh my god. That might not look like it, but that was progress. I don't know about that, Leon. I really don't. In this instance, I think he's not gonna stay down. Yeah, he's coming right this way. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Huh? You have to hit him at minimum 3 times now, it looks like. Also, I forgot to mention that G2 in this mod requires 3 container shots to go down and not 2. So that was a fun thing to find out in the middle of this.
Oh God, please. For the love of God, please. For everything holy and unholy in this world, please. Stay down. Stay the fuck down.
Okay. Make it. Please be 3. Please be 3. It's 3. Okay. We're done. Ah! And finally, with G2 out of the way, it was time to grab Ada and take a little tram ride on down to Nest. Okay. I know it's been a long road to get here, but trust me when I say that the highest highs and the lowest lows both come from this part of the mod. I am not kidding when I tell you that Nest is both simultaneously the easiest and the hardest part about this mod. Starting off, the shotgun for Leon is still just laying in the side room as soon as we arrive, and, well, since I gathered up both parts for it on the way here, fully upgraded shotgun is now added to the inventory. Good. IVs are now in tons more places, but with the grenade launcher and the flamethrower, they aren't really all that big of a problem for me at this point. Oh, the bonus zombies are still a bit of an issue, but I kinda just bait them around at this point when I can. And another thing of note,
Well, that's gonna be fun.
while I let these clips roll, is that this mod has required me to use practically every single bit of resources that I find to crawl my way through. And while nothing major happens in part 1 of Nest, things took a drastic turn
Stop going down the
when
hallway.
making my way to grabbing the G sample
Alright, well, that's game over.
in the G3 boss fight. So, G3 in a normal run is a solo fight with a bunch of spare items littering the arena, and he goes through multiple phases. In the speed run, you basically just pop the eyeballs, then use a knife to shred through its HP, and kill it in the face transitions in roughly a minute. This fight is nothing like that. In the arena, there is G3, who is supercharged on HP, staggers for less time than normal, I think, and with it, there are 2 G adults, multiple tactical zombies, and in just about every corner where the items are, 1 to 2 walkers per spot in this arena. This fight goes on for a while, much like the G2 fight did, and pretty much ate up another whole stream day. I tried multiple variations of the early damage strat here, but the biggest issue I was and have ran into in this run is healing. I have no heals and only a red-blue mixture going into this fight. And the arena only has 1 fast, and I know I'm gonna catch shit for this, 1 green herb as pickups. In the moment, I didn't put 2 and 2 together and hold my red-blue mix for the green herb because in my brain I needed to start the fight with the defense up buff. I know, I'm dumb, moving on. The opening was pretty much the same across all attempts, which was to get an early stun from the Magnum and unload the rest of the Magnum shots into the eyeballs. Then it was a grenade throw time to get the recoil invuln window and maybe take out the tactical zombies before using the flamethrower to deal with the G adults, and the grenade splash for some extra damage. Then using the shotgun to run around and take care of the walkers that pop up on the way to get more Magnum shotgun and high caliber rounds from around the arena's edge. And once every one of G3's groupies were dealt with, it was then time to actually fight the giant tickle monster. And this, well, it took a while.
Okay. Can you do the jump so I can, like, get a stun? He's not doing the jump. I'm just gonna throw the grenade and see it. Hope that it actually does damage in, like, something. Or... So the answer to that is no. But he can also hit stuff. What are you doing up? Oh my god. Did I not take care of everybody? I cannot see. Oh wait, I can just. I'm being so dumb. I can just make a full heal with that green herb. I don't know why I didn't think about that before.
Ow, dude. But finally, Leon got his shit together, and on 1 HP in a dream, the indomitable human spirit won out over the abomination. And after using almost all of my resources, as is the usual, G3 ate the dirt, and it was time for the escape sequence. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bro, that is horrid. That is horrible. Now, after the hell that was G3, it was time for the escape sequence. So Leon gets his scene with Ada, then hits the elevator, and has a brief FaceTime call with Claire before picking up a green herb and a few knives. And now it was time to start the descent.
He's in front of this
The hallways at the start weren't terrible, with the zombies being easy to get around, but they did pack in a ton of IVs on the last 2 rooms. And since IVs are an auto game over on grab, I had to burn through the rest of my knives before baiting out a Mr. Squeaky Punch and eating a hit from one of the last 2 zombies on the way to the elevator platform. There, I grab a red herb for a full heal mixture, then Leon gets to grab the minigun and start the descent to the tram. However, Mr. Squeaky hit his Super Saiyan transformation and decided to not let us get out, and along with his 2 IV sidekicks, the platform fight starts. Leon and Minigun versus Super Squeaky and the Plant Boys. And the Minigun does next to nothing in this fight except for crowd control. Getting staggers on Super Squeaky is a miracle, and the lack of healing is killing me.
There's no way.
This fight is pretty much the same as normal here, though, outside of that. Each phase transition with the boulders adds more zombies to the platform, but the minigun and spacing keeps that issue squared away. Basically, the strat for this fight was, like normal, to just run around and waste time only shooting to take out the IVs, that's what not falling apart, and the zombies, as it was entirely possible to burn through all of the ammo in the minigun and not even see a phase transition. The only other time for shooting was during Super Squeaky's insta-kill charge attack, since that did give reliable staggers. Unfortunately, I did hit the rocket scene pretty early on in attempts, but I immediately had flashbacks to my RE1 knife run when picking it up as Super Squeaky had wound up a stab attack and dropped Leon the moment he picked up the launcher. Many attempts later, I finally got the pickup, and the final joke of the mod showed itself. Multiple hordes of zombies are waiting at the bottom of the lift, and once the hordes are wiped, the second Mr. Squeaky walks through the final door with the last few zombies, killing me and prompting another round of Super Squeaky fights.
What the actual... Are you...
And finally, after roughly 15 hours in the City of the Dead, Leon made his escape from Raccoon City with a final IGT time of 8 hours, 27 minutes, and 40 seconds.
Oh my god, did we do it? Finally? Oh.
Gotta get out of here.
Oh my god, I'm done. I am done. I am done. We're done. Taking every single bit of resources I could get my hands on, I have clawed my way over the finish line. Wrap it up. Punch the card. I'm out.
Now, with all of that said and done, this was the hardest mod that I have played so far, and I have plenty more to go after this. This mod did a great job of making the game feel fresh again after playing it so many times and speedrunning the game, so I take that as an absolute win. This mod required me to use practically everything at my disposal to make it through, but that was also because of just how open palm I played at the early game sections. And at the end of the day, I had a good time trying to figure out this game as a giant puzzle. So, if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you for watching. I'm open to feedback because I want to make these as enjoyable as possible, and if you have any kind of challenges or marathons you'd want to see me do, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Lastly, if you enjoyed the video and want to see more, first off, subscribe to the channel. Second, feel free to come hang out over on Twitch where I do some or all of these runs live and hang out with everyone. Remember to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all again soon.